Okay, welcome to this episode, or rather the only episode of Life in the Gullniverse, with me and not David Attenborough. Yeah, it's totally true, I really don't like gulls, colloquially known as seagulls. Now, I know they are very evocative for some people, you know, when you visit the British seaside or other seaside places, you know, the sound of gulls wheeling in the distance, you know, fishing over a boat that's out in the harbour or the sea. Yeah, it's really evocative. But I'll tell you what, when you live in the when you live at the seaside, they're really not very nice. However, what I'm not going to do is not going to try and persuade you by the medium of voice and prose. Instead, what I'm going to do is just show you a few things and a few items that make me really dislike seagulls. Now, of course, no seagulls were harmed in the making of this video, and if you're in the UK, if you kill a seagull, you can be fined up to £5,000 and thrown into jail, and we don't want to do that. So I would never harm a seagull, but I tell you what, blimey, they're damned annoying. So I'm going to show you that now. I mean, the first thing is probably the sound, and they emit sort of three types of cries. You know, one is a horrible screaming sound, one is like a yowling sound, you know, like a cat that's been chucked into a wheelie bin and strangled, and then the other one is the sound of the chicks, which is like a really annoying squeaking. So what I'm going to do is, I'm in my upstairs room at the moment, I'm going to open the window and let you have a listen. Nice, eh? So I'm sat here, I've got some quality periodicals to read, I'm trying to listen to the test match, and I've got that coming out of my window. And even worse is the dawn chorus. So, you know, the normal dawn chorus, you know, out in the countryside, you know, is all lovely tweets and it's all melodic, blackbirds and sparrows and wrens, you know, but the dawn chorus here sounds like this. Yeah, I know, really quite horrific. So yeah, the sound is the first thing, and then the next thing is, of course, the excrement. I mean, it is really filthy. Now, if you live in a seaside town, you'll know not ever to look up at the gulls. You know, so the thing is, not only do they emit a lot of excrement at quite regular intervals, but they can actually eject it sort of, you know, 2 meters horizontally. So it doesn't come straight down, you know, it's like pattern bombing. And, you know, if you see a seagull, even though it might be some distance away, and it decides it wants to get you, it's going to get you. And it is deeply unpleasant. I mean, look at this photograph of my bike. I mean, look at the state of that. And, you know, and stupidly, I didn't clean it off for a few days because I couldn't bring myself to go near it. But you know what? It like stripped the lacquer off the alloy. Absolutely filthy. And then if you've got a car, absolutely covered. My windows are absolutely covered. We have to get a window cleaner in with a special brush, you know, every 2 weeks to do the windows. And yeah, the stuff is all over the place and it stinks. Then the third thing is, you know, the birds are all aggressive and horrible. I mean, you know, I know in the distance they all look snowy white and gorgeous, but for me they are nothing more than pressurized bladders full of filth, vomit, old burgers, brown sauce and malign intent. They really are horrible. So yes, and they're really aggressive. You know, we've had small children with their eyes plucked out, their tongues plucked out, you know, old age pensioners dashed to the ground. Also the birds, the gulls, can get, you know, a chip or two. Now, some of that might not be true, but you know, you got to think about it. These are really aggressive birds and they can weigh between 1 kilo and 2 kilos, you know, and they go really, really fast. And, you know, you've just got to be very, very careful. So yeah, they're vicious and aggressive. Then the next one, oh, the eating habits. Oh, tell me about it. I mean, it'd be nice to think that a herring gull lived on herrings, you know, sort of like part of the natural kind of ecosystem. But around here, I mean, basically they live on pavement pizzas, their own vomit, burgers, chips and brown sauce. So you can imagine, going back to the excrement issue, you can imagine what that does for them. Oh, absolutely vile. And we'll have a look at a few shots now of a gull in its natural feeding grounds. It's not nice, is it? It's not nice at all. Okay, the next one is the nesting habits. Right, so I'm going to show you outside my window here what I've got on the roof at the moment. So typically we have a seagull's nest that is built, you know, like twice a year. And unlike most birds, you know, that have gorgeous woven twiggy nests nestled in beech trees, which look absolutely lovely and gorgeous. But what does the seagull do instead? Instead, it builds a nest that looks like the contents of a bin or a skip. I mean, look at the state of this, and it stinks. And then you've got these horrible brown speckled eggs that look really evil and malevolent, and they block up the gutters. I mean, the amount of times we've had blocked up gutters due to the gulls, and you can't do anything about it. You know, nets, you know, all the usual stuff that scares off other birds doesn't scare off a gull. You know, they're either too thick or too vicious or too aggressive. But, you know, red balloons, you know, netting, spikes and all that kind of stuff does not scare a gull off. So yeah, the nesting habits, really, really horrible. And the sound of the chicks squeaking, oh my god. You know, I'm here trying to listen to the test match, trying to listen to the final test match at Old Trafford, sorry, the 4th test, and all I can hear is that squeaking. It drives me crazy. And then there's the mating rituals. Oh, the mating is absolutely horrific. So, you know, you'll have you'll have the prospective mates. They'll be circling each other. The male will be screaming its head off, and then if it thinks it's got a chance, the male will approach the female and it will regurgitate some food. And if the female decides to accept it, well, that's it. They just, you know, they get on with the deed. I mean, can you imagine that chucking up in your bird's face, and like if they like it, then you hit the sack. It's horrible. And then you think of all the other birds, you know, like birds like the bowerbird. The bowerbird will build a beautiful little kind of stage for it to strut and to preen to try and attract the female, and it'll sing a beautiful song. Oh no, what does the gull do? It vomits into its mate's mouth. Nice. And then finally, I think it's just, you know, you add all of those things up and you end up with life in the Gullniverse. And it's just not very nice. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. And as I say, no gulls were harmed in the making of this video. I have been mentally scarred pulling together this video. It's been really horrific looking at the gulls in close quarter. So I think next time I'm going to do a song thrush or something like that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you later, and we'll be back to bikes in a bit.